Welcome to the Wardenberg Family Farm. Join me today as I clean and organize the larder in our 1840 farmhouse. Well, as you can see, I have a mess on my hands. The last video, my larder was all pretty and organized and clean. Well, it's been a year. And a lot of the shelves are empty from things we've used, and I have been so busy canning, I didn't have time to actually put them on the shelves. I've just been sitting stuff on the floor. So it's time for a massive organization, cleaning the shelves off, and I think I'm going to try to make them prettier by putting some paper on, and cleaner too, and start organizing all the new stuff onto the shelves. So it's a big job, but it'll look really nice when I'm done and be really organized. Okay, there's a lot of dust and dirt everywhere, so I need to dust off all the shelves and all the jars that are actually here. And I'm probably making more work for myself than I should, but I just want to have it looking prettier. So I'm going to put some of this paper on each of the shelves just to make it prettier, and it'll feel cleaner, like a cover. So that's my first job. Lots of dusting. So it's going to look really pretty though. First thing I need to do is get these potatoes in the root cellar where they belong. Okay, one box down, 5 more to go. Well, I got one shelf done, and I like it with the paper on the shelf, and these for labels. I had the pre-printed things before, but I like these better, and they're easy to just take off and remove and put new ones on whenever I move things around. And this was the shelf that was the emptiest, the tomato shelf, so now it's filled up. Now on to the next shelf. I'm getting there. The big shelf and the small shelf is almost done. I have the jam and syrup shelf to do, and then all the prepared meals in a jar to do.
Okay, so these are your new
labels.
New labels.
I like them. You know, I think they look cuter than the other ones, don't you?
Yeah, I can pretty much read them.
Yeah.
Good job.
I'm getting there. It's looking so much nicer. It's nice not to have the floor filled with canning jars. It was pretty bad this year.
It's dangerous for the cameraman walking backwards. Yeah. I think I knocked over one of your jars.
You knocked over a jam.
Yeah.
Luckily they're canned and they're sealed, so they're safe.
It's good he didn't go for a tumble.
Yeah, really. That'd be bad.
Yeah.
So I probably have to organize the freeze-dried stuff too. It's kind of a mess. I should label what's in there too, so that all the family can figure out what's in there.
Okay.
So I have a lot more organizing to do yet, but I'm getting there. It's going to be really nice when I'm done. I think we'll have to add a few accessories and more cute little touches just to keep it charming down here.
I bet you've been thinking about that.
I've been thinking about it a lot.
I don't know. This looks pretty cute to me. I just like seeing the lavender, and the cupboard's pretty full there. You're running out of room.
I know. That's why it is really getting full. But I need to organize it so all the peaches are together, the apples, the strawberries. I need to they're just kind of shoved in there right now.
Okay.
So I'll get to that. After I get all the canned stuff done, that'll be next. So I'm getting there.
Well, it's starting to cool down in this room. I see it's 63 degrees.
Well, I've had the door to the basement that goes into the garage open to let the cold air in and the hot air out.
So we'd like to get this down in the mid to lower 50s.
Now, the nights it goes down in the 30s, I'm going to try to keep the door open and let some cold air come down here in the night.
Yeah.
We're really trying to get the root cellar colder. I don't know what it is now, probably 50s, but I want to get, if possible, low 50s or in the 40s would be ideal.
Yeah, it's in the mid 50s now, so making progress.
Yeah, we're getting there.
All right, well, I'm going to go back upstairs and continue on the construction work.
Okay, he's working in the kitchen. Well, that was a big job, but I have the larder all cleaned up, all organized, and all prettied. You ready to see it? It's again my favorite room of the house. Figured we'd start in the sweet area, all the jams, jellies, preserves, and syrups. One of my favorite parts. Some of them are the same as last year, but some are different. Rhubarb butter. I love rhubarb butter, and there's only one jar left. So when the rhubarb comes in next year, that's one of the first things I'll be making. And I made elderberry apple jam for the first time. We had a bumper crop of elderberries, so I figured I'm going to make everything elderberry. I have elderberry tincture, elderberry syrup, elderberry jam. So it has the health benefits plus be tasty. Good old apple butter, a lot of strawberry stuff, strawberry preserves with big hunks of strawberries, strawberry jam with a little bit of hunks that the grandkids will eat, and then rhubarb strawberry jam. And then the new one I made, the strawberry lemon marmalade. That was good. That was the first time I ever made that. And then another one that's going to become my favorite, I think, nectarine jam. These are from our nectarines, and we didn't get a ton this year, but I made a couple little things of jam, and they are scrumptious. So I'm hoping we get a lot more nectarines next year, and I can make a bunch more. I love trying new ones, and so far I think I've liked every one I tried. Then there's blackberry lime, which I've made before, and then the mixed berry lime, which is black raspberry, red raspberry, and black raspberry, all mixed together with a hint of lime. That was very popular at the farm stand. People like it with that hint of lime.
So wait a minute, you said at the farm stand. This is obviously more jelly than a family of two, let alone, you know.
Well, plus our extended family, so
Yeah.
all the grandkids eat
But you
stuff,
also sell these at the farm stand.
I sell them at the farm stand.
Homemade jams.
Yeah, and they're pretty popular.
Yeah.
You know, strawberry's always popular, but some of the new ones, they really like the strawberry orange, or the strawberry lemon marmalade, the mixed berry, and they also loved apple pie jam, which is a fairly new one I did this year. That was very good.
My favorite, the ones with the marmalade.
Yeah, you're a marmalade guy.
Yeah.
I'm not a big marmalade fan, but I did make rhubarb orange marmalade this year. And somehow with the rhubarb in there, it's delicious. You know, I've made him orange marmalade before, and I don't want to have anything to do with it. But somehow this, with the rhubarb in it, I love it. So I'll definitely be making more of that.
Rhubarb's great in it. I love the mixed, and anything with strawberry in it is going to be great. And anything with the marmalade. Those are my favorites.
But I also, the one I like too is sour cherry jam. The mix of the sour cherries with the sugar.
Too.
Yeah, I know. I think we're going to be diabetic here.
Yeah.
We do love the jams. And it's kind of, you know, we get out in the morning, have our English muffin. It's like, oh, what flavor do we want today? We get to have all different kinds of jams.
So what else do you have down low there?
Down the bottom shelf is just the syrups. Strawberry syrup, blackberry syrup, just odds and ends. And those are extra jam jars that I had labeled for the farm stand. So people are still stopping by to pick up some jam, so I'll grab those first.
So wait, why are some of them syrup and some jam?
Syrup are runnier, like you'd pour it over pancakes, pour it over stuff, and the jam is a little bit thicker. Now some of the preserves, like I like my preserves actually not real thick. It's thicker than syrup, but it's not really thick like jam and jelly. It's a little bit looser with the big chunks of strawberries. So it can all be a different range of however you like it.
Well,
I don't like them too firm.
Early on, before you perfected your craft, a couple of them didn't set up right, and they became syrup.
There was a big batch of blackberry jam, which became blackberry syrup, and it was delicious.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can always turn things into something.
Yep.
But I love this shelf. Well, there's something missing in there. This is where all my onions are supposed to be hanging. But our onion crop just did not do well this year. I had some. We've used them all. Between all the stuff I've made and canned or cooked, we used all the onions. So I have
cut and
no
paste the
spare
picture
onions.
from prior year in there.
Yeah, I mean, was it last year or 2 years ago? It was filled with onions. So next year, I'm planting a lot of onions. We're going to have this thing filled with onions. So instead, I just have some holy basil and some other basil that's dried. It looks pretty, plus it smells good, and maybe I'll use it in cooking. And this floor, isn't it nice actually being able to see the floor and not having boxes of jars to step over and walk around? Oh, it feels so good to have this organized. And it turned out, I love the way it looks with these new tags, with the pretty paper on the shelves. And it's a little bit organized different. I still love having all the tomato stuff together. The top shelf is all pickles or relish, pickled peppers, pickled onions, pretty much pickled stuff.
Let's look at some of these pickles here.
The one I just call Anna pickles. It's a recipe that our daughter Anna likes, so they're Anna pickles.
Your tags look very good, and I can read them.
I know, I'm not known for my handwriting, but I tried to be neat so everybody could read it.
So wait a minute, so how deep? I mean, these shelves go way
It goes
back
back
there, don't
6
they?
if they're quarts, 7 if they're pints.
Okay.
And I think it's only 7 if they're half pints too.
Wow. That's quite a load.
Yeah, we aren't going to run out of pickles.
Yeah.
That's for sure. But then the tomatoes are all things mostly things I just canned a week ago. That was what really prompted me to get this organized, because we brought all this down, there really wasn't much room on the floor.
Yeah.
So that's all the pizza sauce we made this year. Now this is from last year, Sloppy Joe sauce and bruschetta. And the plain tomato sauce is from last year. That's just the plain tomato sauce that isn't roasted. If you see my last video, I from now on will be roasting the tomatoes. I think it gives it a better flavor. So all the Italian sauce is with roasted tomatoes. I'm looking forward to having some good pasta this year.
So you have all these canned and all the lids, some of them are a year old now. Have you had any that have failed, that have lost the seal from down here?
I had one jam. I come down every so often and sort through, or if I'm getting stuff, I look. One jam, the lid had popped and it was not good, so I threw that out. But no, they've held up great. Yeah, I've been really lucky and fortunate. And just my seal rating is really good. I hadn't had any that failed. Last time we had one pizza sauce that's failed, which we still need to make a pizza to use it up.
Yeah.
That's just from last year, cocktail sauce. Oh, and salsa verde. I love the salsa with green tomatoes. And then just all the salsa from this year that I made. I have a mild, a medium, and a hot, which I call it hot. Donnie says it's not hot, but to me, it's hot enough.
So was it 2 years ago you had the very best salsa that we ever made?
The salsa was to die for. And I followed the recipe last year. It still wasn't as good. Now this year, I think I got closer. It's pretty good. But, and it's one you just throw everything, you just blend the tomatoes, peppers, you just put everything, give it a couple pulses, throw it in the pot and cook it. It's very easy to make, so I like it.
It actually tasted better than fresh, if you can do that
yeah, I know.
somehow.
It's hard to believe because I love fresh salsa.
Yeah.
But, yeah, it's very good. So we were out of salsa. We had used every bit of it from last year, so we needed salsa.
Okay.
Good
So what
old
else do you
cowboy candy, the candied jalapenos.
Yeah, we run out of that too. Do you have enough?
That is delicious. Yeah, well, I also made hot pepper jelly, which is kind of basically the same thing except in the form of a jelly.
Okay.
I love it on a Triscuit with some cream cheese. Oh, do love that stuff.
So those stickers, I'm just curious, are they just adhesive on there, or do they hold?
They're just adhesive, and I tested them before I actually used them down here, and they stay on. Even though it's somewhat humid down here, they're staying on.
And that's a chalk pen that
Yep.
you write on it with? Okay.
But I can just peel it off and move it, put another one down anytime I
Green
want.
beans. Are you sure we needed
This
that
is
many
the
green
first year I
beans?
canned green beans. I don't like green beans that are mushy. My granddaughter loves green beans, and she likes them a little bit mushy. So those are mostly for my one granddaughter.
Okay.
And then we have some sauerkraut from last year. The beets are from this year. And the sweet potatoes are from last year.
Okay.
Our sweet potato crop wasn't good this year. We had a lot last year, but not this year. So sweet potatoes and onions are probably my two fails in the garden this
What's
year.
hiding down below there?
Now that's where I have all my wheat berries. Hard white, and einkorn flour.
Okay.
Berries to turn into flour. Now that we have our own grinder, we grind our own flour.
These shelves are perfectly sized for
Yes, I know.
what you needed.
And we got them on Facebook Marketplace. A gentleman had used them who collected magazines or something. Had tons of magazines lined up on them. But tell me they're not perfect.
Yeah.
I mean, I feel bad. I see people in my canning group, their husbands are making them shelves, and it's like, these were pretty much ready-made, and he just made a couple of adjustments to make them prettier.
Fronts on them
to make them prettier. And then he cut one of them down that was, I think, too tall or something.
Yeah.
For some reason, we cut one down, but it works perfectly.
This is actually the two tops that we had to cut off, and then I put them together.
They were too tall. That's what it was.
Too tall for the room.
But it gave us another shelf.
Again, it's an 1840 house, and they don't have tall basements.
It doesn't have tall anything.
No.
Or even anything. Everything's crooked.
All right, so what do you got in here
This
now?
whole shelf is applesauce.
Okay. And is all of it from our orchard?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Now
Every
why
bit.
some of it red?
Well, I had an abundance of black raspberries and red raspberries, so I actually mixed some in with the applesauce. So I have red raspberry applesauce and black raspberry applesauce and some blackberry applesauce. You just mix it right in when you're putting it through the food mill. I cook it with the apples and put it through the field mill, and it just all comes through together without seeds.
So, okay, it looks darker, it looks good, but does it change the flavor?
It does. You have a little bit of the flavor of the raspberry.
Yeah.
So like the red raspberry, it's pretty sweet. The red raspberries are pretty sweet, but it does change the flavor.
Okay.
Yeah. And now we have different tastes in applesauce. So I have a really tart one with no sugar. That's for me.
Okay.
And then we have one with raisins. My one granddaughter loves cinnamon raisin applesauce.
Yeah, that's good. I like that too.
And then there's just plain old Joe Schmo applesauce with some sugar, which is what most of the family likes.
Okay.
And then below there, these are our peaches from our peach tree. We did get a lot of peaches this year. I was thrilled to get peaches.
We ate so many of them fresh, though. I'm surprised you were able to get that many cans.
Well, they all got ripe so fast, we had to do something with them.
Yeah.
Thus, the peach jam over there, the canned peaches. I made a bunch of peach stuff, and we freeze-dried a bunch. I'll show you those in a minute.
Yeah.
But then I have some rhubarb I canned, and this is all of our cider. We just pressed cider a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
So that's our cider from our apples. That is a thrill. And they're going through it pretty fast.
Yeah, they are. That's not going to last.
Our grandkids love cider.
I mean, I remember when you were said, why did we plant so many apple trees?
That would be why. Apple
Yeah.
cider, apple everything. And I have apple pie filling and then blackberry pie filling. So I guess this is kind of a sweet area too, but not as sweet as the jams.
Yeah.
Okay, so these shelves are pretty full. I'm pretty much done canning that. But over here, I have some work to do. I still have some canning to do. These are like the prepared meals, meats, broths, beans, that kind of stuff. And I do still have some, but I need more. Beef stroganoff, that is definitely one of our favorites. If you've never canned beef stroganoff, it's heavenly. All you have to do is cook some noodles, put a little bit of flour, sour cream in there, you have beef stroganoff. Couldn't be easier. Beef stew, you just dump it and heat it. Well, that's right, that's beef burgundy. This is the beef stroganoff.
They're both
They're
excellent.
both good. The stroganoff's a little better though.
Yeah.
I think I will only make stroganoff. Now here's my tomato soup. This is a tomato soup I just made last week with my tomato marathon. This is the one jar left from last year. And look, these are the roasted ones. This is unroasted.
They are different.
Yeah, yeah. I like these better.
One's like orange and one's maroon.
Yeah, it's a darker, I don't know. Roasting just does something to tomatoes. It's so good. And then we still have some French onion soup. That was from last year from our good onion crop. Wouldn't have made any French onion soup this year. And potato soup, that's something we're going to make a bunch more of. My daughter and granddaughters love potato soup, so we're going to can a bunch of that too. We have a bunch of potatoes we need to use up. Only have 2 jars of veggie broth left. I need to make veggie broth. And chicken broth is getting kind of low, so I need to make some chicken broth. Turkey broth, I'm not a big turkey broth fan, but we have a turkey every year for Thanksgiving, so I end up making broth with it. So I end up putting like one of that in with a chicken broth when I make some kind of soup. So there's a little bit of turkey, but I don't think I could handle using all turkey broth. But it's handy to have. And then the good old beef broth from our beef. That's wonderful. We always get the bones back from the butcher and make some good beef broth.
Now, we just had them processed a month ago, and you've made it since?
No. That's from last year.
Okay.
The last batch. I want the bones, though. Whenever this runs out, I'll be making more.
All right, because I remember bringing a whole box of bones home.
Yes, you did. I made sure you got the bones.
Yeah.
And something I want to put on here a lot more, I want to do more meals in jars, soups, stews. So if you have favorite recipes for meals in a jar that you can, let me know what they are. I'm right now in the hunt for different things I can make to have on here ready to go, or pretty much ready to go. So that's my challenge the next couple months, to make more meals in a jar. Like chicken, I love having canned chicken on hand when you need it, and I'm getting low on that. And this is not ground beef, even though the sign says ground beef. This is actually cider I'm making from our apple scraps from the cider. So I'm making vinegar. Apple scrap vinegar. So I just strained.
So right now it's more cider and it's on the way to becoming vinegar?
It's pretty much on the way to vinegar. In about 2 weeks it should be the right taste. I just strained the scraps out of it today after 2 weeks. And then after about 2 more weeks, I'll see how done it is and maybe bottle it up. But for now it's just sitting down here, finishing up. But this should be ground beef.
Okay.
So I have to can some ground beef. That's handy. If you go to make something with ground beef and you forgot to thin it out to thaw, which I've done. It's like, oh, I forgot to thaw the meat. We can't have anything. So I always have ground beef on hand. till I run out. And beans, I'm low on beans. I need to do more kidney beans. I'd like to do some chickpeas too, to have some chickpeas on hand. So this is the shelf I still need to add some things to, but
Okay.
I'm getting there. And then just all the empty jars. This is what I usually store the vinegar in after it's done.
So I hear a rumble in the other room. Did you have the freeze dryer going?
Yeah, we have apples in there right now. That's one of our grandkids' favorite snacks, freeze-dried fruit. And I think out of all the fruits, apples might be their favorite. So we did freeze quite a few apples if you want to see the freeze-dried cabinet.
Sure.
Okay, freeze-dried stuff. And this cabinet was a Facebook Marketplace find. I was going to try to put all the apples together, but they're in different size jars and the shelves are different sizes. So it's more by size. But I have a lot of strawberries, a lot of apples, and quite a few peaches freeze-dried for the kids to snack on.
Okay, so if they're exposed to air, they start to rehydrate,
They'll
don't
start to reconstitute. So I keep them in the jars with some moisture absorbers.
Okay.
But they go through them so fast, they don't really get a chance to do much.
Yeah. So what's this other, it looks like?
Up here, that's powdered
Mustard
sweet
powder.
potatoes. From the
No?
one year we had a ton of sweet potatoes.
Okay.
And this is asparagus, little chopped up asparagus I can use in my egg casseroles.
So you said from last year, how long do you think this will last when it's in a jar like that with the air?
It probably should be in a Mylar bag.
Yeah.
I don't know. We'll see how long that lasts. We're still learning some of this stuff,
Yeah.
especially the freeze dryer. That's a definite learning curve. This is rhubarb.
I
That's doing
noticed you
fine.
have pretty paper in there. Is that new for this
I
year?
do have pretty paper.
Wow, I noticed that.
I really do
Look.
like things pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I said we had a bumper crop of elderberries.
Here,
These
let
are
me see.
all freeze-dried elderberries.
Wait a minute. I
Quite a
didn't
few
see
jars
those.
of them back there.
Okay.
So I can get them out and make syrup, tincture,
Freeze-dried
anything. Yep,
elderberry.
reconstitute them. I have plenty of elderberries to go.
You have some cute stuff up here too.
Oh, and the sign. This picture of needlework. We found this at an antique store. It was $10.
Yeah.
And this is that's hand needlepoint. I mean, you can tell it's been around and worn. Some of them are worn and some of the stitching's coming out. But that is, I saw that and I'm like, I gotta have it. It's perfect.
King
I love
James, Genesis 1:29.
But I do hand stitching like that, and it's like, I know how much work went into that.
Yeah.
So that has a permanent place in our home.
That's very appropriate for you.
It's perfect for down here.
here.
So there's only one more cabinet to show you. Okay, when we first got this farm 5 years ago and started this whole process of becoming more self-sufficient and growing our own food and preserving our own food, the very first year we had like a whole shelf of store-bought stuff and I think a few canned things. And I said, I hope someday this will be all canned stuff and almost no store-bought stuff. Well, there's still some things I have to buy store-bought or I have bought store-bought. I just don't want to walk down here and see it. So I guess this is cheating, but look, this is all the store-bought stuff. So some things I still have to buy from the store, and even like white vinegar, just things I don't want to walk down here and see on the shelves. Call me weird. I like things just pretty and I don't know.
Okay, the part that I don't understand is upstairs you have a pantry.
That's for the stuff I'm going to be using pretty quick.
Okay, so this is the larder in the lower level of the old house.
Yeah.
And then you also have a root cellar. So how do you determine which things go in here, which is kind of medium cool
Yeah.
versus the root cellar, which is colder?
Things that stay in here are things that need a little bit cooler, not as much humidity. The root cellar needs to be a lot colder and high humidity. So you want to see down the root cellar?
Yeah. On the way to the root cellar, it looks like you have some new decorative items in here. What's that behind you?
What did you call them earlier, dear?
Doodads.
Doodads. I got new doodads. Yeah, I spiffed it up a little bit. We went shopping. I got a couple of little baskets
Well-
and flowers. I just want to make it prettier in here.
Okay. Well, it's a little dark in there. I can't see. There you go.
Just picked up some little things.
Okay.
They're old. Make it look old.
The proverbial hole in the wall.
Yeah, that's a hole in the wall.
Yeah.
Which we've had a couple people give us ideas what it's there for, but right now
The
it's
one
just
that
there
I
for
thought
decoration.
was the most viable was somebody said that when they bring produce in from the garden and it's warm, put it there, park it there for a few days because it's kind of medium cold before it goes down in
the root cellar to cool it down before you take it down there.
Yeah.
So we don't have a ton in the root cellar, but we're getting there. That's another area we still have to grow in. So come on down. Okay, so this is our root cellar. And this was built in 1840. So I am thrilled that this was part of the farmhouse. Like I say, we haven't utilized it to the fullest. We're still having trouble keeping it cool enough. We're getting it down there, but it warms up during the summer, so we're getting there. This side is all carrots and beets, and believe it or not, they're from last year. There's just a few carrots left. They're in damp sand, and they store very well, and beets. Look at that beet. It's as firm and hard as it was when I picked it.
Wow.
They stay perfectly well down here in the damp sand. It's kind of like they're in the earth.
Yeah.
But I need to go through these and dig through and get all the carrots out and make something with all the carrots. So that's that side. And this side is our potatoes, which we had a fairly decent potato harvest. Not a ton, but we have enough potatoes to do for a while. And whatever apples we didn't process. And I could only keep apples that are perfect, like have no blemish, no bruise, no cut, that I think will store for a while. So these are perfect or almost perfect apples. And I'll have to come down here every couple weeks, look for any that might have bruises, might have something starting, and pull them out. So we have some to eat on for a while. We'll have to see how long they actually do last.
Yeah.
But next year I hope to have pumpkins down here, spaghetti squash, butternut squash. There should be a lot more stuff down here next year. This is better than it's ever been, but I want to have it filled.
Yeah. Now, some folks may give cautions on, the storing apples and the other vegetables together, but this room has a very good powered ventilation system. So
He put in a special ventilation system, mainly because the radon was so high.
Yeah.
But it replenishes the air in here every night.
Yeah, so it should clear out the ethylene and
radon. Clears out everything.
yes.
But we use that to our advantage during the winter when it's getting colder at night. We run it for a long time when it's cold at night.
Yeah.
But a lot of cold air through here.
Why don't you show them one of the vents down there? Yeah.
Is that the intake, I think?
Yes.
The air comes in there and goes out a vent on the other side.
And there's a powered fan, so it recirculates this room every minute or two. So we do it only when it's really cold outside.
Yeah.
But it's once a day, early in the morning.
Yep.
Like 2, 3, 4 o'clock in the morning.
At the coldest point. Well, sometimes even 5 or 6 o'clock, it's still pretty cold.
Okay.
So, but it takes a while to cool the rocks down, cool down everything.
Yeah. This is my favorite part of the room, with the ceiling, with the brick arch.
It is really cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have videos about the whole way we've cleaned it up, built the shelves and then whitewashed the whole root cellar.
Yep.
Because it didn't look like this when we bought it.
No.
It was a hole. Well, anybody who cans knows you have to have your empty jars stored somewhere. And I have a special place right back here. There's actually a big concrete trough. I'll put a picture up what it looked like when we first moved in. And that's where I keep a lot of the empty jars. And a few under the stairs coming down the basement. But it's a great way to store it. Yeah, I look at pictures when we first moved in here, and this room has transformed dramatically. I don't think when we moved in we had a real picture of what it could be like. I could never have envisioned this. So I am just so excited that, 5 years ago I had a goal, and I'm pretty close to being there. Growing our own food, preserving our own food. I'm loving this.
Yep. Well, you love all the canned things. I do too, but one thing I think is neat, if you look up and folks, well, you've got some baskets stored, but I love looking up and seeing the big heavy beams. People would call them barn beams, but they're in the house. They're all hand-hewn heavy beams.
Yeah, our farmhouse, a lot of places you can't tell it's a 180-year-old farmhouse. It's been modernized and, a lot of previous owners have taken the farmhouse out of it, the farmhouse look. But down here, you can tell it's 180 years old. So this is a special place to me. Well, I hope you enjoyed my larder even half as much as I enjoy it. And we will see you in our next video. Bye-bye.